So just a quick thank you to everyone who's taken the time out of your day today to join today. It's going to be hosted by myself, Andrew Luthwaite. I'm a pre-sales lead here at Avolution Software. And today, essentially, we want to go through enterprise architecture road mapping in 2023, but also just highlighting some of the key Abacus features. And for those of you who are Abacus users already, I guess maybe just an overview of some of the new features that we've introduced recently as well. For those of you who are not Abacus users and maybe new to Avolution itself, I just want to quickly go through a bit of a background in terms of who we are as a company. And so we've been essentially around for 21 years or so now. I've been here for probably half of that time, maybe 10 years or so. And we have offices worldwide. So what that really means is that we have the capability to support our customers across any region and also across any industry. Hopefully that's been highlighted as well within the analyst reports. So those of you who are familiar with things like Gartner's Magic Quadrant and Forrester Wave reports, hopefully you'll see that we've actually been leading those areas as well for the past 6 years or so. We've also got thousands of Abacus users worldwide, which means we've got an active community of users, and they're sharing stories of how they've used Abacus, they're sharing content they're producing in Abacus, and also it helps other users collaborate across industries as well. As a tool itself, we also support a number of different frameworks and notations. And we say unlimited in here because you can actually build your own. You can actually combine frameworks with each other. But we then also support some of the more industry standard ones, which hopefully some of you are aware, including things like TOGAF, Archimates, BPMN, and some reference here to specific industry notations and frameworks like Bayern and Accord as well. So this view might actually look quite familiar to those of you who have seen things like Gartner's Hype Cycle before, but actually this one is a bit more around enterprise architecture in general. We're all at different stages of our EEA journey, and any given day, of course, we might flip between each of these different stages, whether we're working in the innovation phase, whether we're actually looking at that peak of inflated expectations when we might first introduce EA to the organization. Typically, we're all going through different stages at different times. Now, there are some, I guess we classified these as mega trends, but really what we're actually looking at here are some of the key things that we see in the industry today. So continual transformation and remodeling. This has been a big thing that we've seen across our organizations that we've worked with, and of course, all of our customers and organizations, whether that's universities, non-profits, to large corporates. And we're continually seeing there's a need for transformation within the organization. More so, of course, by things like the pandemic that have happened, and transformation becomes forced in some states. So certainly having something like an EA tool in those areas can also help. Cost management is another area. There's a huge focus on cost, of course, generally across organizations. But we are seeing a bit more focus these days on cloud cost management and multi-cloud environments. Certainly with people working from home much more these days, having all of the services and applications they use as cloud-based has placed greater importance, if you like, on the need to focus on this area as well. And then finally, we've also got cybersecurity on this list. I guess coupled with operational risk, security again for our customers is a big, I say, trend, but hopefully just becomes one of those things that stays around. And certainly, like I've mentioned, remote working, business continuity, of course, is really important. But the idea is that we're effectively combining that with some industry standards as well. Okay, so NIST and SABSA provide some good basis for things like cybersecurity. And as much as they are good references and standards, even if you are compliant with these or compliant with something like GDPR, compliancy doesn't necessarily mean you're secure. It certainly helps in terms of audits and certainly helps in terms of best practice, but cybersecurity is a continuous role, if you like, not just a case of abiding by a framework, but actually delivering and actioning those frameworks as well. And then we come on to, I guess, what we've seen as more EA trends. And there's a focus here, I guess, both on internal and external forces coming to play. Certainly, enterprise architects are the most widely read and attended. Many of the different Gartner conferences and events we've been to. But really, enterprise architecture as a term, we are actually seeing much more of a divided audience. And I say divided, hopefully also that means it's more collaborative. It's not just EAs that we're dealing with. We're dealing with solution architects, analysts, project managers, various domains and industries that we're working with has hopefully and clearly from our experience been extended beyond the traditional EA role, if you like. Now, with that, of course, comes these trends. And the first one here is evident of the fact that the EA trend has moved in certain directions. And having industry specific knowledge, cloud specific knowledge is becoming crucial. Certainly as that landscape widens, organizations need to have much more of a wider view of the IT decisions they're making that actually inform some of the actual business outcomes. And that means making sure that the decision making process is actually being made on more reliable informations. Now, the EA team, of course, have to be a pivotal part of that particular process. And really, the role is there to keep their colleagues accurately informed. So, industry specific knowledge, patterns within organizations, algorithms that can be used across the organization, and becomes a key part of not just the EA team, but also people's personal profile as well. The second one in here, automated analysis, does go slightly hand in hand with the first in here around cloud-specific knowledge, and it's actually using the data that you have available and making automatic decisions from that. So leveraging algorithms, which is a key part of what you'll see today as well, to make sure that decisions are being made on accurate data. So algorithms can work, of course, for different purposes, whether it's to understand costs throughout the organization, understanding complexity and compliance. Algorithms should be there to help make those decisions, not necessarily make those decisions on your behalf. Machine learning has been a key thing that we've been working on, certainly as an organization, and I've been leading the way here from an enterprise architecture perspective. And you will hear a bit more about this later on as well. The next on the list here is the visibility and discoverability. For those of you who kind of sat on some of the WebExes that we've done before, and certainly the ones I've done, I've tried to emphasize this point across most of the talks we've done around the communication aspects within organizations. Arguably, we're picking a tool these days to have a central source of information, a single source of truth, if you like. But part and parcel of that is actually having an organization that can actually communicate the results from that single source of truth, making sure it's discoverable to the wider organization, and making sure that actually anyone in the organization has visibility of the work that's going on. So a tool can be used to build that single source of truth. But again, like most things these days, it's a people problem, not a tool problem. And there has to sometimes be a shift internally of where that enterprise architecture team is focused on and how they can actually help. In most cases, they do, I've seen, extend that communication aspect across the organization. And slightly maybe tongue in cheek for death of spreadsheets. Of course, we don't see spreadsheets dying away. They'll never go away. They are critical to many parts of the organization. However, what we're actually seeing is that they're not necessarily going to be the core data